Guest, I know you're watching the show. You can come on at any time you want to. But Jimmy, you can take us to the guest because I'm about to text her right now.
Man, I read one of the comments from the Boom Boom Room, and it's from Kerrie. Says, after all the blood and the lives that black folk on the lines and lost in the 50s and 60s to give us the right to vote, and we still need someone else to convince us. And that's pretty much sums it up. You guys right now in basketball, football, track, and I've asked this question, I've posed it several times. How many coaches out there have went and encouraged their players to get registered to vote? I even cited last year the law, which in the state of Texas, it is a law. You have a legal right. Any school may provide voter registration materials to the 17-year-olds if they're going to turn 18 within 6 months of turning 18 upon election. Once again, yes, most people have to be encouraged to do stuff in this time and age. You have most people, especially the young people. But right now, we're going to move into our guests. We're at the top of the hour, and we are going to so for those out there wondering,
Yes.
and had questions earlier, we have a female with us today who played a little hoop. She was a little baller back in the day. Texas A&M.
Wait a minute. Why you said little?
I know, right? Like, what's the problem?
A little baller. I mean, that's whenever people say little, I mean that's kind of like hate, shade. We hate and shade on each other all the time. Shouldn't do it. We do it though. So that's what that is. And I'm a little baller, meaning that if I played you, I think I might, maybe around the world, not in basketball, around the world. But anyway, in all seriousness, she a great hooper from Texas A&M is joining for the second time on the Chop Shop. I think third technically we've had you on, and great convo. This is Kerrie Patterson-Brown, and with the Legacy School of Sports Sciences, and that is located in North Houston. And this is a school that has came up, and the concept is really fascinating. And speaking of, since we've had you on, first of all, how you doing? And since we've had you on, you've had a lot of changes and upgrades and to your staff and everything over at. And I got a chance to actually take a tour of the campus earlier this year. So welcome to the Chop Shop with us, KPB. What's up?
Nothing much. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Tell me this: how are you guys coping over there during the? In the closing of the schools? When exactly did you guys stop or halt the physical interactions on your campus?
Well, immediately when we found out, we had to basically kind of prepare for our academic environment, and that meant that we needed to not have the kids on campus. So it was spring break. So I think our spring break was I'm looking at my calendar. So I think it was March 9th through the 13th. And when we were supposed to come back that next week, we did not. So we notified all of our families, and we let them know that the campus was closed. Our team was, we have one person in particular that was, and you met her, Miss Canada. She was very serious about us not having people on campus and abiding by the CDC and making sure that we just put our community as a safe place. We wanted to make sure we were doing what we could do to provide that.
Now, a lot of people may not have seen you last year when we were at the radio station and you came on. Well, to explain to them the concept of Legacy School of Sports Sciences. what brought it about? What do you guys do? Whom do you serve as far as the student population?
We are a school that focuses on the industry of sport, right? So we teach kids about coaching, athletic administration, sports medicine, and sports media. We're here to introduce the kid that's interested in athletics to the industry that they are a part of. I like to kind of compare us to HSPVA, DeBakey, the Energy School. So it's a thematic based campus that has students that want to go into that field, right? So I think from a athletic piece, people get up in arms because we're dealing with athletes, but for us, it's more of saying we want you to understand that business side of it because that's the longevity, right? That's where the money really lies. You can be a player for 2 to 3 years, but the industry itself, it has career opportunities for kids, and that's what we're here to teach.
And what year did you start the school?
So we opened 2 years ago. So 2018, 2019 was our first school year, and but it's been a long time coming. So we've been working on it for the last 7 years, 8 years now, 8 years.
So once again, 2018, 2019 was your second, pretty much full term because we were counting. You were 2 months removed into the end of the year. So exactly. Now, what do you do with the graduates? How many seniors did you have this year?
So we have 39 seniors, and we have had to make adjustments on the fly to cater to them because they deserve that recognition. So we're working to have our graduation at the end of June. We're actually doing a cap and gown drop-off pickup. That's going to be this Friday, and we'll have our teachers here, and we're going to, just applaud their efforts this Friday. After that, we're going to do a couple of other things to really kind of get them, feeling graduate-like. Make sure that we're catering to them. So they've been locked in. They have the academic piece that they have to fulfill. So our kids have done all that's necessary to make sure that their transcripts are going to be well where they could graduate. And yeah, that's it. I mean, we know who we have. The beauty is that we are small, but those small, we want to give them attention so they feel like, making that move to come to Legacy was that we valued it.
Because so now 39 seniors that will graduate, you're going to do it, and you said toward the end of June.
Yes.
Okay. So now, with yesterday's decision from the governor of Texas, whereas he made a decision to whereas a lot of the graduations will be able to take place only outdoors. Does that have any effect or consideration for you guys, and maybe fall up under that umbrella and not do the drive-by, or are you just going to stay tack with doing it the way you do?
We're still trying to map it out, so we haven't finalized anything. We started off with just trying to make sure that we had the right pieces in place, meaning like we're looking for our speaker right now. So we have some really good people that would impact the kids, but we have to finalize those dates. So we haven't really kind of, only thing that we've done is, have pricing for stages and for chairs and stuff like that. So as far as where we're going to have it, if it's indoors or out, we have to kind of play it by ear.
Well, I got something for you. I've been aware of this program since conception. You came on our show. I talked to some people, Alan Branch. I really love your purpose and your mission statement, and I want you to hear my heart on this one. Because in my time on this show, I've been trying to promote people and kids. It's hard. I'm telling you, Kerrie. I talked about a black man owning a basketball team, and I got flack for that. So this is what we deal with out here, okay? This is what we're dealing with out here. I got flack, right? That's employing hundreds of black people in position of power. What you're doing, you're grooming young people to be in a position to sign the front of the check instead of the back of the check.
Yes.
that what drawed me in my interest. All of this other stuff, sports, and I know you have sports to attract people to your school. I'm smart enough to do that. Ohio State does it. Kentucky does it. Everybody, Memphis, my school, it does it. And I just want to commend, and I want to tell you, no matter how bad it looks, you keep going. You're going places nobody ever went. So people gonna always try to find something, baby. And if anything you need my help with, don't you ever not pick up that phone and call me. I just wanted to let you know that, because sometimes this Women Rock Wednesday, I want to encourage you, because I know to whom much is given, much is required. You are black woman rock today. You doing something that some people ain't never thought about. And half of the people who complaining ain't never even thought about doing something like this. So I encourage you, lift your head, because sometimes we need it. When you're in positions of power, you making all these decisions that affects, let me tell you something. If I knew nothing else about you, your staff, how glowing their words are. See, a wise man told me, Rob, he said, you look at a man, he said, I can tell a man the way his friends treat him and the way his friends, I ain't talking about them people who pretend they're your friends. I'm talking about your employees have their chests stuck out. You know, so you let these clowns out here get you off your focus. Hold up, God gave you this vision. You got to remember when Moses came back with them tablets, they wanted to stone him. And what you're doing, you're breathing life into corporate America that's going to manifest in 10 to 15 years. And we're going to see it when some of these young kids coming up being, the general manager of the team, or the head analyst for the team. In other words, when we see the media guide of the Houston Rockets, maybe it may have a little color in it. You follow me? So I had to give you that before we go any further. I had to give you that. Keep on going, young lady, and don't you let these folks stop you. You don't even have to comment. But Jimmy, I know Jimmy got another question.
Thank you.
You see what your guest speaker should be for your graduation right there.
I know, right? I know, he's all has me blushing. So what you got to say, Jimmy?
Hey, Jimmy, it's according to which date? I'm booked.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're not going nowhere. Social distance. It's next month. You're not going nowhere then. You said you're going to stay in the house.
Oh, boy. Some of us can go somewhere if they want to. That's all I'm going to say.
Everybody can go somewhere if they want to. Okay. But let's talk about this legacy of the School of Sports Sciences. How did you come up with the name?
Well, it took a lot, just because we really wanted to make sure that we had a name that encompasses what the school's about, right? So like a lot of times when people say sports, it's not about sports, it's about the industry of sport. So we want people to understand that. So I went back and forth with trying to find a name that made sense and that wasn't really, really long, because our school district name, and I like long names. The name of our district is very long. So it was to really try to make sure that we're saying, okay, this is who we are. This is what we're about. I actually worked with Dr. Keati Cavell at TSU.
Yeah.
He helped me through it. He's like my hole puncher. So whenever I have an idea and I bring it to him, he punches holes in it. But it's a good thing, right? Because it makes it stronger. So he was the one that really kind of said, Kerrie, you need to make sure that, when you say the name, people know what you're about.
And now you guys, in doing so, once again, you mentioned 4 aspects, at least 4 you mentioned about what you offer. That is, for the kids, you offer them sports, the variation of coaching, You're offering athletics. You're offering sports medicine. And what was the fourth?
Well, I'll tell them all to you. So coaching, athletic administration, sports medicine, and media.
And media. Okay,
Yeah.
and media. And you have did a great job, you guys, over there as far as finding, identifying different people to fill those functions at your school. For example, you have in your you mentioned in your sports medicine, the young lady that's over there that does that. We actually saw she's actually worked as in the sports medicine capacity at a few of my events. And Alfio, your sports media personality over there, he's worked in the capacity. We've seen him on the scholastic and the non-scholastic fronts, because in his days of recently working with in his relationship and alliance with TJ Ford basketball. In the basketball component, speaking of basketball, I don't know your football coach per se, but I'm quite sure you can tell us about that. I know in basketball, you went and tabbed a young man, came out of Yates High School in 2003. You too are a Yates alumni as well, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And what year?
That's none of your business.
Nah,
No.
come on, Jim. I can't. Dude, you're having a bad day, man.
Yeah, it's 95. I graduated in 95.
In nowadays, you can ask a woman what year they graduate. Yeah, she did. They no problem. They don't have no problem with that now. No more.
Okay.
Because they know now. Them 95s look better than some of these 2005s. In 2000, I mean, them young, they know that. So now, speaking of the basketball component, you went and got PJ Kunznord, I mentioned in 2003, and he to head up your basketball program, and then he went and got a couple of assistant coaches that fill up under him and is doing a great job as far as filling up that infrastructure. Chad Ware, a couple other guys, Chip Cartwright, Oliver Chip Cartwright from Wheatley High School, class of 2003. He and PJ grew up together as far as, not grew up together, but during that 2003 summer, each other from basketball. It's the common denominator. So in sports, now I want to ask you, who's the football? Tell us about the football coach, because you guys came away with some sort of a title this year, right?
Yes. And no, not this year. Last year we did. This year. Yes. So last school year. But what we're doing, we've had to make some changes with our coaching position with our football program, and but our coach that was our former coach was Coach Gerard Lewis, and he did a great job. I mean, he really started a strong program. I mean, our kids, they responded well. Like we had, I think 6 of our seniors, they signed. So, I mean, he did well. So we're going to continue to move forward. We're bringing someone new in for this school year. And we're hoping to keep that same, that same momentum going.
And now we're going to take out the time.
I got a question from the Boom Boom Room.
What's that?
And I wanted to answer it for you, but I think it's a good one. I want you to hit this one. He said, Anthony Weston asked the question, and I want to make sure. He said, are you grooming at your school? I'm just trying to make sure I want it. Are you creating entrepreneurs or workers? At your school, are you creating at your school entrepreneurs or workers? At your school. In other words,
we're creating leaders, right? So,
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, because we're kind of chopping up. So we're creating leaders. I mean, the intent is to make sure that every day we put our kids in positions to understand opportunity and to build relationships, and then to learn how to lead in that manner. So you don't necessarily, even if I'm working for someone, you can still lead. So the thought is to make sure that we're putting that we're instilling that within our kids. So that leadership, those leadership qualities, and making sure that they know where they stand and who they are, and then eventually they can go into the entrepreneurship world. Because it's not easy. Everybody don't want to be an entrepreneur.
Everybody can't.
Yeah, and everybody can't be one. But you can lead, and you can learn Yes, and then and making sure that we're always trying to have our kids in a position where they're influencing and being influenced.
Hmm.
And we're going right into, of course, more. You have feel free to present your questions to Kerrie Patterson-Brown on either of our platforms right now. We're streaming live, Facebook and YouTube simultaneously right now. So
Hold
if you're
up,
on,
hold up, hold up, Jimmy. That's for Kerrie. I like the way she answered that question, but keep going. That was for Kerrie. Keep going, Jimmy.
he put his DJ skills out there for you too. You see that he really practiced things. Yeah, you
Thank
see.
you.
And so now, if you're on Facebook right now, make sure we take out the time to invite you to share the show to your
Yes.
timelines right now,
Yes.
and all your friends. Share the show with them. There may be somebody that could learn and understand what's going on and what's in our community as far as the legacy, the School of Sport Sciences. Now, we have another question and that is from Melvin. He says, what mascot did you go with? And what were your top 3 choices?
Oh, so our mascot, we're Titans, and I didn't have a. Well, I actually wanted to. No, that was it. That's been so long. I chose Titans though, because the definition, one of the definitions that I found of Titans was to learn in one space and then to go out and impact the world. That's what a Titan would do, and be influential. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that our kids are learning in a space where when they do graduate and go on and continue on with their lives, they are able to influence. And that's important for us because that means that we're putting the right things in them where they're changing not just their community, but they're changing the area. I mean, just our surrounding area. So that was why we chose the Titans.
And you have a question out of you have
No,
plenty of them.
it was just amazing that you still here. I mean, it was about 2 years ago, I think, when you came on our show, about a year and a half, and I because people keep asking about when y'all coming to Dallas and folk see but play basketball, right? And Kerrie, my biggest focus on your is how a school like this can change the landscape of corporate athletics. Okay, that every time I think about this school, I don't think about the basketball team because I had the advantage of you coming on our show and listening to you. But now I see we're gonna have to figure out a way to use basketball as a tool to draw more attention to the to the school and I guess the more students. Matter of fact, how many students are there right now?
Well,
Mhm.
none right now,
I'm,
but
I'm talking about in this calendar year.
400.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
Yes,
okay, okay. And 39 are graduating. See,
yes,
I
yes,
remember that. I
yes.
remember
And
that.
how many was the first year?
This our first year we ended the school year with like 300, 365.
So there's an increase. You're on the uptick. Do you
Yes.
think that this COVID-19 is going to impact the attendance for 2020-21?
I believe being on all these interviews is going to help us because of what's going on with our athletic programs, and because I feel because we're doing it the right way that our enrollment will go up. So I mean, at most, I think if our principal tells us all the time he doesn't want more than 500, 550 on the campus because then we'll lose that intimacy piece. And that's what makes us special. For us, we look at relationships as being a big part of our core. And I feel like if we get too big, then we're going to miss out on that. So initially, I wanted to have a campus of 1,100, but now seeing the type of students that we have, I mean, we're 97% of our students are student athletes. So that means there's a lot of type A personalities in the building. So to manage that, you have to make sure that you have the right people, number one. And then secondly, you have to have the space to be able to do it. So it's having a campus of 550, I mean, pushing it with 600 would be it would be a very good place for us.
You mentioned you own a promotional tour. What kind of tour? Because you mentioned you're doing a lot of interviews. What you own a promotional? I mean,
No.
what's the tour? What's with your athletic program that is requiring you to do all these interviews? I'll let you. So that instead of me, I'll just let you lead into. You mentioned it. You got to understand. My job is to listen to what you say, and then guess what? Ask a question about. Hey, I don't have no list of questions. Look at my. I ain't got no list. I'm listening to you, and
Yes.
tell me about this fantastic. What's this news about your athletic program?
Well, okay, so first off, I did mess up myself, right? So let's
No,
go
you
ahead.
didn't.
Right, I did it right. So, um, but what I can tell you is that from an athletic standpoint, right now, our boys basketball program is doing extremely well, and
Okay.
a lot of that goes to the work that the head coach has put in for it. Like I like to
Okay.
tell people that have any questions or they are concerns about the campus or concerns about his program, I'd say don't discredit the work that he has done to get to the point of where he is.
Gotcha.
And I say that I can go back and remember the first day of school. PJ didn't have a gym, right? They had kids that were getting on a bus, driving down 45 to go to harvest time to practice, and they were only practicing 59. So yeah, 15 minutes away, and they only had 15 minutes on the court, and they only had half court, right, with three balls, and
Gotcha.
one of the balls was a girl's ball, right? So so it's kind of like he dealt with it, and he kept it moving, and he stayed in a positive manner, knowing what he could do, right? I mean, his
Right.
history, it showed that he knows how to build a program,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done that. And we have kids that are now coming to our campus because of the work that he's put in, and they're great kids, and they're great families, right? So I'm excited about that. And our job is to make sure that they get everything they need so they can take that next step from legacy being successful. So
And we
Awesome.
have questions. I'm looking in the email box. So the boom boom room, and we have questions on both
Somebody
platforms.
that emailed us.
Plus in the email, I'm seeing about 10 questions in the email box.
I
But anyway,
see.
let's get I mean, so what we'll do is we'll just go around the horn and rotate them one at a time. We'll try to get them in quick as for this time
Jimmy,
runs
let me
out.
get this one out the way. Since I
What's
got the
that?
boss lady on. I like to talk to the boss. Let me talk to the boss. Stacy Houston, he said, I want to invite Legacy Varsity Basketball Team to Dallas for the first annual R.J. Hampton High School Basketball Showcase, Saturday, November the 21st, 2020, in Little Elm, Texas, suburb of Dallas. R.J. Hampton, if you don't know, Kerrie, is one of the basketball players from that Dallas area. He's about to go into the draft this year, and they wanted to come back and do something. That's going to be an awesome tournament. I guess since he put it on the Facebook feed, your guys, I know they're going to take the information down, but I think it's a heck of an opportunity for them to. I know they're going to Dallas on another occasion, but this occasion right here, more visibility to the program. So that's just my little plug. You know, you do whatever you want with it. Jimmy, what's the next question?
That's the question you're supposed to be asking PJ
I'm,
Kuzno.
no.
yeah,
Okay.
the only thing I was gonna say to respond to it was that Coach Ware is on the
Yeah.
I know he's on the feed. So Coach Ware, that's you, baby.
See,
That's a
Jimmy, what you
basketball
don't
player.
understand, bosses used to talking to bosses. That's all I'm telling you.
But she ain't got nothing to do with the
If,
schedule of
if
the
I can talk to
basketball
the
team.
CEO, PJ is the coach. But let me tell you something, Jimmy. If I can talk to Steve Ballmer, I ain't got to talk to Doc Rivers. That's what Robert Hattie is. I can talk to, excuse me, let me help you. I'm used to talking to Jerry Reinsdorf. I'm not used to talking to the head coach. So
Alan,
that's all.
you're taking clock away from the
No,
lady.
we ain't got no clock.
We're gonna interview you
Let's
tomorrow.
go. No.
We
Yeah.
got plenty questions for her.
Yeah.
And
Excuse me,
one of the
Jimmy. That was a question off the Facebook feed. Now, it was a question off the Facebook feed. By the way. Yeah, I'm just helping you out. Because sometimes you keep forgetting about it. What else? What's the
Mel
next
asked,
question?
is there a tuition fee to attend Legacy? or if so, do you offer any scholarships?
No, so we are a state charter school. So we're open enrollment state charter school that's tuition free. Now, what we do have to do is we tell our families that to help subsidize all the expenses that we have for our programming, our students would have a ECF, which is an extracurricular fee. So they'll pay for their a lot of it goes into travel or for booking for different events and all that kind of stuff. So each one of our kids that participate in the extracurricular program, they'll have to pay for.
Now, you mentioned about approximately 400 students this season. What's your student to teacher ratio?
We have 25 students in a class and one teacher, and that varies because just because some of our classes are smaller than others.
Now, on your teachers, I'm reading some of the questions from the Boomer Room. I mean, from the Boomer Room and or the mailbox, which we call it in the Chop Shop mailbox. How many of your teachers are TEA, Texas Education Agency certified?
So if they're not there, we have all of our.
Do they have to be certified? That'd be.
So all of our content classes, the teachers have to be certified or in a certification program. All of our the coaching, athletic administration, sports medicine, or sports media class, they have to be either degreed or an industry expert in that field.
So the industry expert, that's the same as like a content specialist. So you do have content specialists on campus, or no?
Yeah, I mean, we have people that are experts in their field, right? So like our basketball coach, she was a Hall of Famer basketball coach, and she was my coach when I was at Texas A&M. She coached the coaching program. Now, granted, she also has a certification, but she's a expert in that industry or in that field of sport.
And how do you service your kids at your school with disabilities?
Well, we as a state school, we have to abide by the state guidelines. So whatever the state is saying that we have to do, if the kid comes in with the art or any modifications or accommodations, then we have to abide by those. So we have an outside organization that we work with, and we have a special education teacher on campus, and they offer those services.
And so you do have the SPED. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. There's one other question next. And what tools of assessment are being used to monitor the student achievement?
So we have, we use DMAC, we use TEAC resources. Obviously, everybody knows the STAR test. And then we have different formative assessments and just as any other school. I mean, our curriculum doesn't change. So we use the state TEACs just like any other state school. But our instruction is a little different because we're able to take what the kids' interests are and what their passions are, and we put it in the classroom. So that doesn't change as far as assessments that are used. So we do benchmarks, we do boys, we do MOYs, we do everything that any other school does. We just provide the information in a different manner.
And also, so now with your curriculum, another says, are you guys, your curriculum, is it approved for the Division I by the NCAA?
Yes.
And being that, because normally schools that get a couple of years under the at first when they first opened up, and then after a couple of years, then they would come back and make they would take it from there. So you guys explain to the viewers and listeners about what encompasses your NCAA standing, your approval, or your in regards to compliance.
Well, it was a process. So first off, our number is 851305, right? So if you go on the NCAA, is my school certified? You type in 851305 and you will find our information. And so all of our courses that have been NCAA approved. It is a 2.5 year process. So as I had mentioned, we have seniors that are now going to 4-year universities on athletic scholarship. We had to have those things in place to make that happen. So it was our athletic director did a fantastic job. The one you met, Ms. Danielle Canada, and she did a fantastic job of keeping us on track and making sure that we finished and got everything completed and submitted to TEA. So our principal and I had to make sure that from the academic side, we're pulling all the information that they need to support the documents to make sure that it's checked off as yes, they are. These classes have been approved.
So now
So
this
it's not
year, say it again. Go on.
it's not easy. It's a task, but as anything else is, I mean, if it's worth it, then you do it. So we did it.
So now this year, by being abbreviated, would that still count? I would hope so. Towards moving towards your 3 year. You said it's a 3 year probationary period from the TEA or whatnot.
No, I didn't say that. We're not in probation.
No. I mean, that's the term might be the slang. That's what it used to be. The term they would call whenever a startup or a new school would open. When it comes to their curriculum or the TEA, they would get like 2 or 3 years. I don't know. And you mentioned a couple of years earlier. So is that not?
We're full throttle. They don't put you on probation. I mean, if they're gonna come in and take you, they're just gonna come in and take you. Like they don't TEA like the FBI. They don't do a probationary thing. They just come in and they take everything up. So no, we're not in probation. We are a regular
I asked you because I remember the Victory Prep was the previous school as far as basketball that of similar stature of you guys. Of course, you guys have the brick and mortar into a much more bigger, greater magnitude than the Victory Prep. No disrespect to them. You know, they worked out of the old place off Jensen Road at first, then moved and had a South campus. But back with you guys, I remember that's where I got the term the probationary status. So it wasn't said to a slight at all. Just letting you know that part. So we have. Let me go and see.
I got another question for you, Mrs. Brown.
Okay.
The same guy from Dallas, he asked the question. Ask Ms. Brown, does she feel the city of Houston is supportive or unsupportive of Legacy?
I think they're supportive. I mean, I believe, I mean, we have the right pieces in place and the right people there that have their own network of friends that we have strong support. And if not, then it doesn't matter because eventually one day they will. So it's not like we're not here to be liked. We're here to teach and influence kids and impact their lives. So if we were to, and you can't get caught up in that, right? Who likes me, who doesn't, because that then you'll start straying away from what your purpose is. So I think people do support us, but for those that don't, it's okay. Like Legacy's not for everybody. And we're okay with it. Like I don't go to a culinary school because I don't like to cook. But would I sit up and say, hey, this culinary school sucks? No. I mean, I'm best of luck to those people that go there and that participate and are supportive of that program. And then after that, it is what it is.
That's awesome.
Indeed. And you say another question is, what do you guys have in place if they continue to shut down into August, September?
Well, our principal, Ralph Butler, is very excited. No, he's done a very good job of making sure that we are prepared and ready for that, having a contingency plan, right? So what we did that was put us in front of a lot of other school districts. We were able to transition from our brick and mortar to an online platform because we already had that work. We already did that work, or it was already in place, excuse me. So being able to do that, our kids are prepared and ready, and they've already been they're acclimated to an online program. So we already have the things in place if that comes. I mean, if the governor says we can't come back to the building. Okay. So we're ready.
I got another question. Kevin Hawkins asks, are your athletic programs governed by, are your athletic programs bound by UIL regulations for scheduling per sport?
Well, we're a part of TCALS, that's the Texas Christian Athletic League. That's for our high school. Mm-hmm. And then we're a part of TSAL, it's Texas Charter School Academic Athletic League. So they have their own governing body, and we abide by those rules.
Okay, and that's a good thing. Of course, now several questions. I'm trying to read over some of the questions and glance over them because some of them are fragmented. And somebody asked, "Oh, come on, that don't even make sense." And that really don't. Now, here's a question I wanted to get to you. Came is that In doing so, you mentioned the basketball team, the success of it going into this season. You guys recently have attracted nearly a half dozen 12th graders, rising 12th graders, and to your program. So as a result, certain school districts normally will push back against that. And then those relationships sometimes can sour as opposed to being an ally to the program. I remember when Yes Prep first opened up, and some of those schools and they first opened up, you're the puppy. But then when you start to attract their kids, you become that dog, a bad dog to them. Mm-hmm. And so do you guys the relationships, from some of those neighboring school districts, because they can go and decide not to play you, not schedule you, then that leaves you guys at a disadvantage for us trying to fill games, which it takes more money then because you have to travel abroad.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So again, that we kind of put that on our coaches. I think our coaches and our athletic director have done a really good job of building relationships for the campus, right? Like, it's their job to build their program. One of the things our athletic director always says is that you're the CEO of your program, so make it work, and invest in it. So that means if you need to go talk to coaches to let them know who you are and what you're about, then you need to take the time to do that. So I know that we probably are ruffling some feathers, but I'd like to, refer back to our principal. Our principal says that if you look at where the kid came from, the kid left that school for a reason, right? So for whatever reason it is. So it's not saying that it was a bad school or if it was a bad place, but don't judge us because the kid came to us because he wanted something different or she wanted something different. So, and I agree with that because I feel like you wouldn't leave if it was going well. So that's why we want to make sure that when we do have to start reaching out to other organizations, other groups where people are like they're not happy with the fact that we have some kids on our campus that can beat them, it's more of let's all look at from an educational standpoint what we're doing to make those kids stay.
And I just got a question right here. Don't each of those kids, don't they have parents?
Yeah.
Each one of those kids have parents. So so my problem is, if somebody's parents make a decision about where to take their kid, I think that's okay. Yeah. If somebody's parents, see, my problem is, if Michael Phelps was at Klein Forest, but he moved out to Clemens because Clemens had a better aquatics program, wouldn't nobody say nothing about it. Mm-hmm. If I had a top golfer leave one school and go to another school, wouldn't nobody say nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Why does this thing only happen if it's a black basketball player, a black football player, that people are up in arms about? That's my biggest thing about this. I see golfers and individual people move all the time, Kerrie, but it only happens in these kind of sports, and I'm kind of fed up with it, and me personally, I don't like it, and you can comment on it if you want to.
No, I agree with you because I feel like just take it even to the academic standpoint. Nobody gets upset if there's a musician that leaves from one school to go to HSPVA, right? Nobody. They look at it as like this. That's a better opportunity for them over there. Yeah. Well,